In this video, I am talking about how to get back on track with your healthy habits and with your goals. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about because it is under-discussed and under-normalized. I recently put up an Instagram post with the caption, "A gentle reminder if it's been 2 days, 2 weeks, or 2 months since you meditated, journaled, worked out, insert healthy habit here, just bounce back, don't overthink it." Bounce back as many times as you need to. It is 100% okay and normal to get off track. Just get back to it at literally any point. Remember that you get zero return on sitting there and feeling self-shame and guilt about being off track. And that really resonated with some of you, but sometimes when you fall off track and your workout habit has now become a TikTok habit, it feels really hard to bounce back and you don't even know where to start, and that is what this video is about. I want to talk about exactly how to get yourself back on track with your habits and your goals when you've fallen off track, which we all do. It's normal, it's okay. There are 2 frameworks that you can run your goals and your habits through to make sure that when you're bouncing back, you are bouncing back even stronger. The first framework is Gretchen Rubin's 4 Tendencies framework. I talk about this a lot more in my real life than I do on my YouTube channel for whatever reason, but this is the first framework that I go to in my mind whenever I'm finding myself not following through on a habit or a goal. Like many personality tests, the 4 Tendencies framework isn't this scientifically research studied, absolutely proven framework. But I also strongly believe that not every concept or idea needs to be backed by research or studies in order to actually be helpful. And with that in mind, let's move on to the framework and how it's going to help you to bounce back with your goals. So the first tendency that you want to reflect on when you are bouncing back is the questioner tendency. If you are a questioner, you will only do things if you have a really solid reason why. So to keep up a habit or to keep moving forward towards a specific goal, you really need to design those habits and those goals so that they're catering to your specific needs. For example, exercising just to get healthy may not do it for you, but exercising to fix the lower back pain you've struggled with for years, or to increase your energy as a low energy person, more specific and catered to you reasons to exercise will work better. As a questioner, you might need to create really strong feedback loops to show you that what you are doing is helpful. Otherwise, you might find yourself questioning the value of your habits and your goals. And as a questioner, if something does not feel helpful, you are not going to be consistent with it. Then there is the obliger tendency. So if you are an obliger, you do things when there are external expectations for you to do things. But if a genuine expectation does not exist, you're probably not going to do things. As an obliger, a coach, an accountability partner of any kind will help. Another thing that can help obligers is thinking about the expectation of your future self. What obligers often tend to do is meet the expectations of others but not meet their own needs. So thinking of your future self and thinking, what obligations do I have to keep my future self happy, can be helpful. Then there's the rebel tendency. So if you are a rebel, you don't like being told what to do, whether that's by someone else or if it's by yourself. Unless you're doing something that you want to do, you're doing something that is a strong part of your identity, it's going to be hard to get yourself to do things. So rebels need to adopt an identity-based approach when it comes to habits, and I would argue that everyone should do this. To get yourself to be consistent with your goals and your habits, you need to work out how working on your goals and your habits is an expression of your identity. So you don't need to write a book, you need to become a writer that values and loves writing, that considers writing an integral part of their daily routine. You don't need to just exercise, you need to become that person that's like, yes, I go to Pilates every single week and if I don't, I feel weird. As someone who has rebel tendencies in some areas, I find it really helpful to align my goals and my habits with my values. So because I really value learning, that's a strong part of my identity, I don't find it as difficult to keep up a reading habit or a learning habit. Another thing with rebels is they like doing things differently from everyone else. So I would equate this with the Enneagram 4, if you're familiar with the Enneagram test. They need uniqueness. Regular Pilates is a no. Pilates on a farm with goats, unless that's too chuggy, is a yes. A reading habit is a no. A reading habit with a totally unique to them note-taking system is a yes. The last tendency is an upholder. As an upholder, you are generally good at doing things, whether they are things other people have asked you to do or things that you've asked yourself to do. Upholders are probably not watching this video. The only time upholders really struggle is when they're burnt out, when they have too many expectations. Take this tendency with a grain of salt. I tend to find that every single one of these tendencies has applied to me at some point in different areas of my life. You might be a rebel when it comes to keeping up a cleaning routine because you despise cleaning and home maintenance. However, you could be an obliger when it comes to work. Before I get into the next framework, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Perfect for those of you who might be looking at a goal of creating a small business or creating a portfolio or creating your personal brand. Squarespace is a platform to build your own websites. There are no plugins, there are no patches ever. Having dealt with website platforms that had plugins, that had patches, it's a nightmare. You don't want it. This is a dream. Squarespace is flexible for any kind of website. Small businesses, creatives, artists, designers, anyone else out there. Click the link down below, squarespace.com/muchelleb, and use the code muchelleb to get 10% off of your first purchase. I recently launched my app Intention, and I created a Squarespace website in literally an afternoon. It took an afternoon to get something functional and beautiful running. If you want a beautiful, easy to make, easy to maintain website, start your free trial today at squarespace.com/muchelleb. Use the code muchelleb to get 10% off of your first purchase. Link below. The next framework to run your habits and your goals through is James Clear's habit loop. If you've done any kind of habit or self-development work, you're probably familiar with this framework. Cue, craving, reward, response. Alongside this framework, you have 4 questions that you can reflect on whenever you are struggling to maintain a habit or a goal. Firstly, how can I make it attractive? Making a habit attractive looks like pairing your daily walk with your favorite podcast to make your walk a more enjoyable ritual. Secondly, how can I make this easy? Making it easy looks like always having a water bottle by your side so that you're just more likely to drink water and it's really easy for you to do during the day. Then, how can I make it satisfying? Usually when people are talking about rewards to make something satisfying, they go for something external. So takeaway after a week of consistent workouts. But if you try to use solely external rewards to make something satisfying, when it comes to things that you have to repeat and do over and over again, the motivation to keep you doing it is going to be weak. Rewards to make something satisfying can be really good for one and done activities, like completely decluttering your house. But they just don't work that well when it comes to things you have to do consistently. And if you've ever tried to implement rewards, you'll know what I mean. The best way to keep yourself doing something is to create strong, positive feedback loops. And to do that, you need to make the behavior itself rewarding to do. You need to find a way to turn the activity itself into a satisfying and rewarding experience. That could look like changing your perspective on it, changing the way that you do it, or changing what you focus on. These probably aren't wildly new concepts to you, but if you haven't taken the extra step of sitting down and applying each question to your habits and goals, you're making it more likely that you won't stick to them. I find that focusing on environmental changes, the make it easy part of that habit loop, is the most actionable and often the most impactful. Time and time again, I have changed my behaviors through almost solely environmental changes, which is why I want to recommend spending some time really focusing on that part of the habit loop. Another take on make it easy is the 20-second rule. Sean Acker created this rule when he was really struggling to get himself to start playing his guitar. To start playing, he'd have to get himself out of his chair, he'd have to walk over to the closet, open the closet, get the guitar out of his case, sit down, then start playing. It was a long and lengthy process. So to combat that, he made it easier by moving his guitar so that it took him less than 20 seconds to get started. I always just think, how can I make it easier to do this and harder to not do this? I made a video a little while ago titled 14 Simple Changes to Make Your Life Easier. And I talk about a bunch of environmental changes that I've made, just like little tweaks to my environment that I've made. So if you do want to get inspired by environmental changes, I'm going to link that down below. The next technique that I like to use when it comes to getting back on track, particularly with my goals or my projects, is the 20-minute focus method. Set a timer for 20 minutes and work on your goal the entire time. Sometimes all that is stopping you from moving forward is momentum. You don't have any of it, and action creates momentum. It's very much just getting the ball rolling. Once you've started, it's easy to keep it rolling, but if it hasn't started, like, you need that push, and the 20-minute focus session will help you with that. I also like to pair this with reconnecting to my goal, reconnecting to my why, maybe brainstorming a bunch of actions under it, getting clear on what my vision was for that goal in the first place, because if you don't have a connection to those things, it's gonna be hard to motivate yourself. If you liked this video, you might like my best of playlist. It's a playlist of all of the videos that I think are the best content that I've created. Very focused around behavior change, self-compassionate productivity, getting things done, goal setting, all of the things that I personally love to make content about. That is linked on the screen as well as down below. I appreciate you guys an incredible amount, like wildly. Don't know what I'd do without ya. I will see you soon.